Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Stokes Sounds Off. I'm your host, James Stokes. I have a few other videos to make for this channel to catch up on church news updates, for which I have prepared thoughts and scripts. But yesterday, December 3rd, marked President Jeffrey R. Holland's 85th birthday, so I needed to prioritize this video as it is a day late. I know that the Lord is no respecter of persons and that He doesn't play favorites, but on a personal level, I wanted to reiterate again that He is my favorite apostle. I have a couple of familial connections to Him. My dad was born and raised in St. George, Utah, and his father, Dean Stokes, was Elder Holland's home teaching companion when young Jeff was an Aaronic priesthood holder. According to my dad, his father often expressed his wonder and amazement that a boy like Elder Holland had become an apostle of the Lord. I know that at times it may seem that some members of the church, to varying degrees, have put the leading brethren of the church on a pedestal, but I am reminded in accounts such as that which was shared by my grandfather that these men may have been foreordained to the apostleship, but they are no different than any other member of the church. The Lord just ordered their lives based on their personal choices in such a way that when such calls came to them, they were qualified through years of service in the church and by living what they believe. That is important for all of us to remember. The second connection I have to Elder Holland is that my mom is a freelance proofreader, and in the early days of her marriage to my dad, she worked on many projects for the church educational system. Since that occurred at a time when then Brother Holland was the commissioner of the church education system, he was essentially my mom's boss, and she speaks warmly of the experiences she had working with him on such projects. Personal connections aside, I wanted to share a brief biographical sketch of Elder Holland's life. Jeffrey Roy Holland was born in St. George, Utah, to Frank D. and Alice Bentley Holland on December 3rd, 1940. He served a full-time mission in the British Isles. His mission president was Marion D. Hanks, who at the time was a member of the now defunct First Council of the 70 and later served in the First Quorum and the presidency of the 70. One of young Jeff Holland's missionary companions was Quentin L. Cook, alongside whom he would later serve in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Of now President Holland, Elder Cook has remarked that it is interesting to him that he, as the previously senior missionary companion to Elder Holland, is now the junior apostle to his former junior companion. He further stated that he often tells senior missionary companions to be kind to their junior companions, as they never know if or when they might become their senior companions. Following the conclusion of Jeff's missionary service, he attended BYU, where he earned a bachelor's degree in English and a master's degree in religious education. Additionally, shortly after his release from missionary service, he married his high school sweetheart, Patricia Terry, in 1963. They are the parents of a daughter and two sons. Their oldest son, Matthew, served as the president of Utah Valley University and as president of the North Carolina Raleigh Mission. During General Conference in April 2020, Matthew S. Holland was sustained as a new General Authority 70, marking the first time a father and son duo has served together as general authorities since the July 2015 death of President Boyd K. Packer. Once Elder Jeffrey R. Holland earned his bachelor's and master's degrees, he went on to earn a doctorate degree in American Studies from Yale. He then became a professor at BYU, serving as Dean of the College of Religion. He served as Commissioner of Church Education from 1976 to 1980. In 1980, President Dallin H. Oaks, who was then serving as the president of BYU Provo, announced his intention to move on to other opportunities. Commissioner Holland was put in charge of the committee to find the new BYU president. 2 days later, he was stunned when the first presidency appointed him to that assignment. He had reportedly been favored for the position by President N. Eldon Tanner, who was then serving as first counselor in the first presidency, and was the protege of then Elder Gordon B. Hinckley, who at that time was the senior member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, assigned to the Church Board of Education. Elder Holland would go on to serve as president of BYU for 9 years himself until his April 1st, 1989 call as a general authority and member of the First Quorum of the 70. Before his call to general church service, Elder Holland had also served as a bishop, counselor in a stake presidency, and as a regional representative. After the first presidency was reorganized following the death of President Ezra Taft Benson, President Howard W. Hunter, 14th president of the church, took immediate action to fill the apostolic vacancy. In the space of a few short hours on Thursday, June 23rd, President Hunter issued a call to the apostleship to Elder Holland, gave him his apostolic charge, ordained him as an apostle, and had him join the other 14 apostles in their weekly meetings at the temple. That action was later ratified by church membership during the solemn assembly that was held exactly 100 days later. As we know, then Elder Holland experienced significant health challenges earlier in 2023 that reportedly almost ended his life and kept him from speaking in both general conferences in 2023. Before that hospitalization, Elder Holland also experienced the death of his sweet wife. Elder Dale G. Renlund recounted that as he and President M. Russell Ballard visited Elder Holland, he was in bad shape, and Elder Renlund voiced his professional opinion that Elder Holland might not survive this illness. President Ballard responded, "Then we will just have to exercise our faith." The two subsequently gave Elder Holland a priesthood blessing, and the next time they visited him, he was markedly improved, even sitting up and asking about breakfast. With Elder Holland's life preserved, a short time later, as President Ballard himself was in poor health, Elder Holland in turn ministered to the acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles as his health declined. And when President Ballard died on Sunday, November 12th, Elder Holland was set apart to succeed him in that assignment 3 days later, on the day before President Ballard was laid to rest. President Holland spoke at President Ballard's funeral and subsequently went on to speak at the memorial service and funeral of President Russell M. Nelson this year. President Holland has given a total of 64 addresses in General Conference. Of those, 3 were given before his apostolic call. The first time he spoke during General Conference was in April 1983, while he was serving as the president of Brigham Young University. He spoke alongside his son during that session. He gave 2 other talks following his 1989 call as a General Authority 70, and the remaining 61 General Conference talks have been given since his call as a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. To me, it always seems as though the talks given by President Holland are specifically focused on something I have been dealing with personally at the time. As a consequence, listening to him speak every 6 months is one of my favorite things about each General Conference weekend, and I keenly felt his absence from the 2 General Conferences in 2023. The last thing I want to mention about Elder Holland is that he is currently the most senior member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles and the second in seniority among all current apostles. He is also the third oldest member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles and is the sixth oldest among all living apostles. Interestingly enough, although he is the most senior of the 3 apostles, born in 1940, with Elders Uchtdorf and Cook being the other 2, he is the youngest of the 3. His apostolic seatmate, Elder Uchtdorf, observed his 85th birthday just under 1 month ago, with Elder Cook having done the same roughly 2 months prior to that. I am grateful for the life and ministry of President Jeffrey R. Holland, for the miraculous preservation of his life, and for the chance I had to share this video in his honor today. I invite you all to stay tuned here for my coverage of the latest updates from the Church News, the Newsroom, and the Church of Jesus Christ Temple sites. I'll be sure to pass word of those along to you all as soon as the time and my circumstances allow me to do so. In the meantime, that does it for now. All comments are, as always, welcome and appreciated on any video or short at any time, as long as all such feedback is made in accordance with the established guidelines. I hope any of you who would like to share anything will take your opportunity to sound off in the comments section below. If you liked what you watched here and would like to stay informed of newly added videos and shorts, please consider subscribing to receive the applicable updates. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Until next time, I wish you all the best and pray that the Lord will bless you all in everything you do.